Welcome to Movies in the Making, everyone. If you would like to hear about how films were done behind the scenes, please like down below and subscribe to this channel for more videos, including what films you think should be talked about by this channel. In today's episode, we are going to be looking at the 1993 Arthouse drama film The Piano, released by Miramax and directed by Jane Campion. Here, we will dive deep into the story of the production of this film. No other Arthouse film truly speaks out Arthouse quite like this film. The subject matter for such a film like The Piano takes so much effort to make it excellent. Now, sit back and enjoy the show. You are all in for a maestro of a ride. Jane Campion came up with the idea for The Piano as a deeply personal and emotional story with music playing a key central role. Knowing she wanted the piano to be more than just an instrument, almost a character in itself, she approached composer Michael Nyman after being impressed by his work on Drotzman's Contract, Curzon Films, 1982. Despite admiring his clarity and vision, she specifically asked him to avoid the driving string-heavy style that he had used with Peter Greenaway, seeking instead a more emotional, lyrical sound. Though she lacked technical musical knowledge, Campion worked closely with Nyman by expressing her ideas for emotion and feeling. Since she had not imagined specific music while writing the script, she gave Nyman creative freedom to guide him through mood and character development, especially that of Ada, the main protagonist who expresses herself through music. The collaboration required the music to be ready before filming, as actress Holly Hunter needed to learn and perform the piano pieces herself, initially unsure how to represent Ada's emotional voice, turned to Scottish folk traditions, combining their essence with his minimalist roots to form a unique musical identity for the film. Campion supported his research-driven approach and worked as a mediator between him and Hunter. Despite some creative friction, Nyman delivered a reflective, romantic score that came to define the tone of The Piano, particularly the iconic piece The Heart Asks Pleasure First. Campion's openness, intuitive leadership, and trust in Nyman's evolving style were central to shaping the film's distinct emotional atmosphere. Although the film was widely celebrated for its originality, controversy soon followed when the Oxford Companion to Australian Film claimed the film was based on Jane Manner's 1920 novel The Story of a New Zealand River without credit. The novel and the film share notable similarities. Both center on a European woman who arrives with her daughter and piano in colonial New Zealand, falls in love with her husband's associates, and eventually leaves the logging camp for city life. While Campion added key elements such as Ada's muteness, the Maori presence, and the sexually charged piano for pleasure bargain, the parallels prompted critics and scholars to question whether the screenplay was more adapted than original. Campion denied any wrongdoing, saying her main inspirations were Emily Bronte's 1847 novel Wuthering Heights and C.S. Forester's 1935 novel The African Queen. She emphasized that legal representatives for Manner's estate had confirmed no copyright claims on the piano. Nonetheless, evidence surfaced showing Campion had previously acknowledged Manner's novel as an early inspiration and had even paid the estate a modest compensation fee for a lost opportunity to reissue the book. The debate sparked backlash in New Zealand and Australia, dividing critics and academics. Some defended Campion's creative license, while others argued she borrowed too much without proper attribution. Ultimately, Oxford University Press issued a formal apology and removed the claim from future editions, but a question of inspiration versus adaptation still lingers in the film's legacy. Holly Hunter landed her iconic role as Ada McGray thanks to a combination of her immense talent and the film's powerful Oscar-friendly elements. A mute, misunderstood single mother with extraordinary musical skill. Hunter not only performed the piano pieces herself, but also used sign language to help her young co-star Anna Paquin learn it, adding authenticity to her performance. Despite this high point in being at the peak of her career in her 30s, Hunter's opportunities as a lead actress in feature films dwindled rapidly, with only 3 starring roles after this film. While her decline was not due to any deliberate effort to sideline her, a mix of industry sexism, ageism, and a commercial underperformance of otherwise well-reviewed films like Copycat, Warner Bros. 1995, Home for the Holidays, Paramount Pictures, also 1995, and Living Out Loud, New Line Cinema, 1998, led studios to see her at risk. Although she had continued to give excellent performances, Hollywood's failure to sustain her leading lady status reflects broader cinematic issues that undervalue actresses, especially as they age, a loss for both Hunter and audiences. To prepare for her role, Hunter worked closely with American Sign Language instructor Darlene Allen Whitman to develop a unique, custom sign language for the character, Rather than relying solely on existing sign systems, the pair spent weeks inventing gestures tailored specifically to Ada's Scottish background and emotional vocabulary. Some were inspired by Russian, American, Native American, and British Sign Languages, while others were entirely original, like the mime motion for song. Whitman described the experience as a rare opportunity to create an expressive language from scratch, though much of it was left on the cutting room floor. Hunter quickly adapted to language due to her acting background and skill with expression and body movements, and used this system to convey Ada's inner life without speech. Hunter even acknowledged Whitman's contribution during a Golden Globe acceptance speech. Anna Paquin landed her breakout role as Flora purely by chance. She had no acting experience and only attended the open casting call to skip part of a school day. At just 11 years old, she was chosen largely because she was the right height, and despite having never acted before or watched much film or TV due to her conservative upbringing, she relied on instinct and closely observed her co-star Hunter for guidance. Paquin's natural ability and on-set learning paid off, launching a successful acting career she had not originally planned for and one she later grew to deeply love. Campion cast Sam Neill as Alasdair Stewart, the Richard Seller who arranged for Ada to become his wife, early in the process of developing the film. From the beginning, Campion envisioned Neill in the role, likely drawn to his ability to embody Stewart's controlled, repressed masculinity, a character who is emotionally distant and ultimately oppressive. New Zealand native Neill was a familiar and respected actor whose presence lent authenticity to the film's colonial setting. The casting reflected Campion's careful attention to character dynamics, particularly the tension between Stewart's attempts to dominate Ada and her silent but defiant resistance. Central to the film's exploration of gender and power in a 19th century colonial society, the film itself came out the same year Jurassic Park, Universal Pictures, did, where Neill in that film portrayed Dr. Alan Grant. Harvey Keitel, meanwhile, was chosen to play George Baines, a sailor who is assimilated into Maori culture and becomes emotionally and physically drawn to Ada. Campion sought Keitel specifically for his unique blend of concentration, masculinity, and gentleness, qualities she thought were essential to Baines' complex character, a man both raw and tender. His openness to vulnerability and full physical exposure, including full frontal nudity, further distinguished him from the typical male leads and allowed Campion to push for the film's erotic and emotional boundaries. Before shooting, Campion worked closely with Keitel and Hunter in rehearsals to build trust needed for their intimate scenes. Keitel's performance ultimately helped ground the film's emotional core, offering a masculine counterpoint to Neill's colder character and reinforcing the film's theme of emotional and sexual awakening. Janet Patterson became the costume designer after gaining experience on Australian television, with the film marking her first major period piece. An Australian herself, Patterson was known for her collaborations with visionary female directors like Jane Campion. Her work on the film was pivotal in shaping the film's historical authenticity and emotional depth. Patterson's costume designs, particularly the somber Victorian wardrobe worn by mute protagonist Ada, reflected the character's internal confinement and cultural displacement. One memorable design, the transformation of Ada's crinoline into a glowing tent for her daughter on the beach, underscored both the character's creativity and the film's visual symbolism. The piano was filmed entirely in New Zealand, with much of the production taking place around Auckland and its surrounding areas. Key locations included Henderson for studio work and several striking coastal posts that contributed to the film's haunting atmosphere. The iconic beach scenes, such as where Ada's piano is first stranded, were shot at Kari Kari Beach, a rugged black sandshore west of Auckland. Additional scenes were filmed at nearby Piha, another dramatic coastal area known for its cliffs and surf. These natural locations played a central role in shaping the film's mood and visual storytelling, emphasizing the isolation and emotional intensity of the characters. In Dorothy Bendel's reflection on the piano, she explores a haunting early frame from the film that encapsulates both emotional intimacy and defiant desire. The image of Ada stranded in silhouette while her daughter Flora is nestled in her glowing hooped skirts on a desolate New Zealand beach becomes a powerful symbol of resilience and resistance. Bendel reads the skirt not just as a clothing, but as a sanctuary and metaphor for motherhood, creative agency, and even sexual autonomy, especially in a society that silences and confines women. Ada's mute defiance, her passionate piano playing, and her erotic awakening with Baines all signify a rebellion against patriarchal and colonial constraints. This single frame, steeped in chiaroscuro and contrasting textures, represents the fierce tension between repression and expression, survival and selfhood, silence and voice. For Bendel, it becomes a personal and political touchstone, an image of longingness that speaks to the enduring struggle to claim space for one's own desires in a world still shaped by limiting systems. Campion revealed years after the film's release that she originally envisioned a much bleaker ending for the story. In the iconic near-final scene, Ada plunges into the sea with her piano, her foot intentionally caught in a rope. While the film ultimately shows her choosing to live, Campion later admitted she wished she had let Ada drown, feeling that ending would have been more honest and powerful, but she did not have the nerve at the time. In a 2013 interview, she reflected that Ada sinking with the piano would have been a more fitting conclusion. Hunter disagreed, saying she appreciated the film's actual ending as a peaceful reverie rather than a haunting tragedy. As of the 6th of July, 2025, the piano has 90% critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes, an 89 out of 100 critics score on Metacritic, a 7.5 rating on IMDb, and a 3.9 rating on Letterboxd. The film's budget was $17 million and grossed about $40 million following its initial release date of 5th of August 1993. The film received 7 nominations from the 66th Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and of those 7, won 3. Best Actress, to Hunter, Best Supporting Actress, to Paquin, and Best Original Screenplay, to Campion. And that wraps up our deep dive into the making of the piano. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay updated on all things movies in the making. Let us know in the comments what you think of the piano, or if you have any favorite moments from a film we did not touch upon, or films you would like to hear covered by this channel. Also be sure to check our community page, where you announce what films will be talked about by this channel each week. New posts arrive every Friday. Thanks for watching, we'll see you all next time on Movies in the Making, where we'll be talking about Clueless, Paramount Pictures 1995, and more films follow along the way. Tune in for more Movies in the Making as we encourage stories behind cinema's most unforgettable films. This has been Jason Scotchmer, film enthusiast and passionate about the arts.